Yes, a very good morning to all of you. CA Fenil Shah, Chairman in absentia, the distinguished guest for today and from our own fraternity, CA Vidya Sarthi, Convener CA Tulsija Jinaya, CA Jhalak Parikh, Nisha Patel, Shikha Agrawal. It's gratifying to look that all of us are dressed in the Indian outfit today, and we are virtually celebrating the Durga Ashtami today with all the bindis and all the powerful women present here, and I'm sure many more would be joining now. What an auspicious day to kickstart this beautiful series, Kaleidoscope, and thankful to Jhalak for this beautiful name, which looks into within, a look into the journey of successful women, the challenging role of women in this dynamic world. And with the blessings of Ma Durga, fortunately, without any planning, we are starting this series on this day, and I'm glad and appreciate the passion of our madam to immediately give her acceptance. And the first speaker is from our own fraternity. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being present and sharing your valuable time. I would like to share Durga some things about Durga Ashtami. I'm sure everyone would be knowing, but let's reiterate and seek the blessings of Ma Durga. Durga Ashtami is a day to celebrate the essence of womanhood. It celebrates the victory of goddess Durga over the evil demon Mahishasur. Mahishasur, due to a boon bestowed upon it by Lord Brahma, could only be defeated by a female warrior. Hence, Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva created Durga, and each part of the body was created in such a way that it was blessed with strength with the energies of different male gods. On this day, Ma Durga made use of the weapons to defeat Mahishasur, and also along with Ma Durga, her weapons are worshipped today, which we call Ashtra Puja. In addition to that, Ma Kali emerged from the face of Durga today, and the eight aspects of Durga emerged from here. So, this festival is a stark reminder that women have been more powerful, and as rightly said by our PM today, women are symbol of Ma Durga. So, with the blessings of Ma Durga and the blessings of our Ahmedabad branch chairman, we have started this beautiful inspiration series twice a month, mostly every Saturday morning. We would invite leadership stalwarts from our profession or industry to share their life journey with us. I would like to share that the whole WMEC committee members, I can see Hinal, Pranali, please keep your video on, Mauli, Hiral, all are present here and they are working very hard for all of you to create different platforms so that we are able to grow personally and professionally. People would try to stop you, will make it inconvenient for you, but you have to keep it going and inspire each other. And this is the wonderful platform to do that. I would also like to share the coming sessions. The next Saturday on 31st October, we are having a session of Iron Lady, the craft of conquering, which is done by the CEO of Iron Lady, Mr. Rajesh Bhatt. And on 7th November, we have again another faculty CA, Sandhya Sriram, the Vice President of Wipro Enterprise, to share her inspiring journey. So, with this, I wish Ma Durga empowers us with more strength and we could get rid of impure thoughts and we can start this and we can find the Shakti from within. As it is rightly said, Virago, as we had seen in the last CA Sarika Jain session, it's all within you. So, thank you so much, and I once again welcome you and wish you all happy Durga Ashtami. Thank you so much. I request now CA Gianna Tulsija to take the session further.
You finally said it correct, Anjali. It's Gianna. Yes. Okay.
Finally, I get it.
Yes. Good morning to one and all present here. I am CA Gianna Tursija, and it's an honor, ma'am, to have you with us. As the name says, she is a polymath when it comes to areas like mergers and acquisitions, cross border transactions, and debt financing. She has worked with Fortune 500 multinational corporates with international and domestic experience at senior finance positions. She has worked with corporates like Private Limited Chennai, Tata Motors Mumbai, from where she was deputed to as a CFO to Tata Cummins USA, which is a 50-50 joint venture of Tata Motors and Cummins Incorporation USA. Her scholastics include CA, CS, ICWA, ACCA Diploma in International Financial Reporting, BSc, and let me tell you, the journey doesn't end here. She is also pursuing CPA. It's an immense pleasure to have you here with us, Vidya ma'am. And in this festive mood of Navratri and Durga Puja, which celebrates the victory of good over evil, light over darkness and chaos, but most importantly, women power, Nari Shakti. And I, being the convener of Women Member Empowerment Committee of ICAI Ahmedabad, I feel proud to share the work done by us post lockdown and till date. We, with like more than 50 women chartered accountants, were able to issue an e-booklet named Meraki, where everybody had contributed articles, from which I would like to acknowledge two members today who had written articles in Meraki. Anuja Mehta for article Uncertainty and Investing, and Bindya Ruparelia for Importance of Exercise, and two other articles. There were many beautiful videos also shared by our CA women about work from home and innovative ideas about how you can work from home. And with that, Kaleidoscope is one of the inspirational series which we have launched, like Anjali ma'am already told about it. With that same zeal and enthusiasm to learn more each day, I would like to request Vidya ma'am to take over and let us know about your dynamic success and the inspiration and the motivation that always keeps you on the path of learning and gaining knowledge each day. Ma'am, yeah, you're not audible.
Also, Gianna, you need to share that we are going to have the Q&A at the end.
Yeah. Good morning to one and all
Yes.
here. I'm very happy to kind of participate in your initiatives. Since it's really very much required need of the hour, I should say. We need to know what are all the strengths that we have as a women, and also try to make much use of it. Okay. And also for the thank you for the good introductions that you all have made. So shall we start the program now? Can I kind of start the presentations?
Yes, ma'am.
So the topic of today is successful women, both in career as well as in personal life. So just to give a background of my profile, anyway, she took it, she gave a detailed this, but I just wanted to say that I'm basically a science graduate, did my chemistry, physics and mathematics, and never had any idea of coming into finance and accounting, because we were all in our family, we were more into doctors and engineers. So I did not have any clue as to what is accounting and finance. That is the reason we all went into the science and mathematics. But then after I finished my BSc, I wanted to do some professional course, So I was just looking around what should be a good course for me to kind of have as my career, professional career. So then I was seeing many of them were struggling very hard to pass out CA. So I did not have any kind of pressure from my family or from anybody to that we need to kind of clear CA and have some goal and all that stuff in life at that point in time. So I just wanted to venture out, joining a CA firm, and then to see what it is, just to understand why it is so difficult. Why are people kind of finding it difficult to clear the exams? So when I joined there, it was a CA firm, a medium-sized CA firm, and most of them were BCom graduates, and so they all had a lot of knowledge as to what they're talking about with the clients. And then when you see the clients, they just come and approach you and they start discussing with you. So they don't really, they just assume that you can kind of guide them through. And when people started discussing with me, I was really feeling very nervous, because I just can't even answer back or give them any response, because even debit, credit, accounting, everything was new to me. So therefore, I started going through all these things myself at home. Whenever I finished my office was over, so I started coming and understanding what are the different concepts, and that itself became like a motivating thing for me, that I was able to interact better with the clients when they come and approach me. And my other colleagues who were there with me, they used to just watch like a fun as to how I'm going to kind of interact with my clients, so that was like a game for me. And then I started interactions. I started knowing more about all these CA requirements. Then, in that urge itself, I was able to get All India 13th rank in my CA intermediate. So that was a real motivator for me. And I also finished my CA final in the first attempt. And then I joined one of the manufacturing companies again in Chennai itself. I'm basically from Chennai. So even though I had lot of opportunities from different banks like Citibank and other very big firms, audit firms, big four audit firms, but because of my family, so they were more interested that I be in Chennai itself, take some employment in Chennai. So I had to join a firm, Lakshmi Machine Works Group in Chennai. Then I transferred to Bangalore. When I went to Bangalore, I got good opportunity to work for one of the biggest multinational companies, Bosch GmbH. So when I came to Bangalore, actually I got two offers, one from Wipro and one from Bosch. And Myco Bosch, it was called. It was a manufacturing organization, and Wipro again was a IT industry. So in my thought process, I was always wanting to do IT, because that was when we were finishing our BSc and all that. There was nothing called information technology was not there, and then they just started MCA at that point in time. But then I wanted to do that, but somehow I just landed up with chemistry and physics, and because it was very new to everyone, so that is how I wanted. I had some kind of an attachment towards IT itself. So even though I got an offer from Myco Bosch, which is one of the largest multinational firms, I joined Wipro, stating that it is an IT firm, so I would be more interested in that. So after 1.5 years, Bosch again came back to me. They said, "We liked your profile, so we are going to start a captive software unit in Bangalore for Bosch worldwide. So if you join us, it will be quite good for us." So that was a real start of my career, I should say. So I came back to Bosch. I was given the opportunity um, to lead the role. Basically, since I'm also a company secretary, it really helps, because being a CA and CS helps you, because both are like complementing each other. So they gave me the responsibility to incorporate the company, then to set up the software IT firm, and then that company is actually servicing all Bosch Group companies worldwide. So we had to then recruit all the software engineers. We had about 400 software engineers. Then we started recruiting. Now it has grown to a size of about 15,000 software engineers. So what we did was, we set up the company. Then we had to work on funding, because they gave us a little share capital. Then we had to get all the approvals in place, set up the team. Then we grew one by one. We started growing there. And since I joined this company, they also asked me to travel to Germany to know about their culture. So I had a little bit of outside experience also. When I joined there, it was good that they wanted to actually grow me up, so they made me to visit Germany to meet those people there. So I had an opportunity to go to Germany, just work with those Germans. And Germans, if you see, they are not really very friendly at the first instance, like the Americans. So they always kind of very very professional in their approach, I should say. That means they have a very, very clear distinction between personal life and professional life. So, one example I could say, when you are just discussing with them and it's lunchtime, they just say, "Okay, it's lunchtime," and they leave and go. So they will not even ask whether you're joining me, or it's that kind of a mindset that they work in. So then it was nice to then become very, very close to them after so many years of working with them. But initially it was little bit tough, and there is no English. People don't speak English there. So you are just, you need to know German. Otherwise, they are not even going to answer you in German. So for me, it was a different foreign experience at the first instance, that nobody is there to help you. You just have to depend on your own. And if you just want to ask some help, they'll say the map is there, you can put the map and you can go on, you know. It's very different from the Indian culture that we are used to. We are just used to talking to people, asking for help, and then it just comes, and we are very friendly that way, I should say. But they are very different. So but it was good to work with me for them. And I had the opportunity to work for all the German MDs who were deputed from Germany. So they used to come here, and they were very fascinated with the human approach of the Indian. So when they come, we take real care of them. And then so they were really very happy with that. And that's how I started working with the German firm itself. And German firm opportunity is very, very nice to work with, because they are, their quality levels are really very high, and their integrity levels, their corporate governance. So you start learning so many things from them. So I was having this kind of interactions with them. I was reporting to the managing directors deputed at different points in time from Germany itself. I had functional reporting to Germany, and then also board presentations and all that. So this company really made me the, gave me the real satisfaction of working in a very professional environment, and a lot of development, you know. So then I was not only doing, first we started with accounting, then corporate reporting, then taxation was also very important for them, because it's international. We were doing business only with all Bosch Group companies worldwide. And I being also a company secretary, so it was a dual role for me. And also had lot of exposure to the contracts, business contracts. So they told me you can finalize all the international business contracts with all these subsidiaries worldwide. So that gave me an opportunity to travel to different parts of of the world, I should say. Other than Africa, I have visited all the countries, almost like nook and corner of Germany. And like the once in 3 months, I used to be in Germany for a month. It was almost like my mother house itself, I should say. Just go there, then be there, become very close to all the functions there. So that was a, it's really, I should be lucky for that, I should say. So I finished my working there for about 14 years. Then they gave me an opportunity to take up positions in US or Germany for 3 years. So in this Bosch company, their how they work is, if you're selected, then you will be deputed to different countries, and you can choose your country and keep growing. You know, they pay for your kids' education. They give you tax-free salary outside India. So it's all excellently. They take care of you once you come to their this one. But unfortunately, again, I should say, because I had two kids who were very small. My son was just 2 years and my daughter was like 5 years. So for me, a big dilemma to say, what should I do? Should I have to take these kids there? And the culture is extremely different there, because the kids are given their own independence right from day one. They are independent, you know, like first day of their birth, they are independent. So they can take their own views, and you cannot even kind of tell them do this, do that. All those things are, they can just go and complain against you to the police also. They teach you that if your parents are telling you how you have to behave, then you can just call this number and the police is there at home. So that is their culture of bringing up the kids. So I was literally thinking what to do, whether to take these kids, because my husband works here, and what should I do? And if you don't take this change, then you have to till your retirement you'll be doing the same job. So that also is really painful, you know, because you're just in your late 30s, and then you can't take such a big call at that point in time in your career. So I had to take a call to then switch on and move on to another Dubai based company, which is in the retail segment. There again, I worked for about 6 years as a vice president of finance taxation for the entire group in India, reporting to Dubai directors and all that. Then again, my son was doing his 10th standard, and I had to be a little bit with him, because 12th, he was in 12th basically, you know, so he had gone to do his 12th, and also preparing for his IIT. So again, dilemma as to whether we can continue in corporate, because corporate you have a very different timings. You have to be there, and once you take the responsibilities, you can't shy away with that, again. So I had to take a 1.5 years break, in the sense that I did not take a break. I did my practice. I did my CA practice, as well as I because I finished my ACCA diploma in IFRS, because I wanted to do this IFRS implementation in my company in lifestyle. So I did IFRS at that point in time. But this helped me during my 1.5 years of different consulting experience. So what I did was I connected with ACCA, and they were also very much interested in my profile, in the sense that they said you have very nice corporate exposure, so you can become our learning partner. So what I did was I was doing consulting, because of my connects with different CFOs of different organizations. I was able to get very good audits. Plus, I was also doing this faculty in some of the universities only in IFRS and ACCA subjects also. So thereby, what happened? All these Bangalore universities, I became a visiting faculty, and I was able to coach as many students as possible, like 3,000 students and all that. The In Bangalore, what happens is, many of the students from UAE, who are all Indians who have gone to UAE. The parents are in UAE, so they send the students back to India, because you don't have good education in UAE. That is what I understand. After they finish their 12th, so they come here, they do their BCom and BBA, and in Bangalore, these universities, they also attach themselves to ACCA UK, and they say that once you do with us, you just have to do 4 papers in ACCA, and you will be a qualified ACCA. ACCA is again equivalent of CA Institute in India. And once you are a qualified member of ACCA, what happens is you cannot practice in India, but it is a global opportunity. You can get placed anywhere in the world, because everywhere it is IFRS. Around the world, it is IFRS linked. So therefore, lot of opportunities to get placed outside India, as well as in India also. It's becoming very promising, because of all these big four audit firms. They take ACCA also equivalent to CA in their internal audits and all that kind of an activity. And wherever the work is coming from outside India to India, they service all these clients. So that way, this is becoming one of the important aspects. So I had the opportunity to become learning partner for this ACCA and do all these things. So I almost, like, because of I really got trained so many students, and pass percentage was about 35 to 90%, the student community. So they became a big I had a very big group of students working with me. Then when I was doing all this, then Tata Motors reached out to me, and they said, your profile is extremely valuable for us. It's a kind of very appropriate, so you can join us as group controller. And that was in Mumbai. So again, you need to relocate from Bangalore, leave your family, go to Mumbai. But then I took that I took that decision, because that really, I wanted to go back to corporate, because corporate is also very nice to work with. So, and it's a very good opportunity. Group controller for entire Tata Motors Group worldwide, having a turnover of about 3 lakh crore per year. So that was amazing for me, taking care of corporate reporting, controlling, IFC control, SOX controls, then taxation again, GST and direct tax was reporting to me, and also these controls. So it is a very big portfolio. I wanted to do that. And Tata Motors also has a practice of deputing its own employees to as CFOs to different organizations to see the performance of the organization. So that is how I moved on to Tata Cummins as a CFO. Then presently with AGP as a CFO and company secretary. So why I'm giving you this background is just to say that as a woman, you have so many decisions to take during your life journey. There will be compulsions that you have to, whether you may want to continue with the same organization, or so you will be getting equal opportunities in your professional life like men. And you should never think that just being a woman that you are one notch down compared to men. That's never the case, because both have same brains and both have equal opportunities. That is what I should say. And only thing is, since we are kind of trained in a way that we also need to take care of our, it's not like a need, we wish to also be with the family, you know, that is part of our lifestyle and part of our mindset also, I should say. So that's how you need to kind of balance both the thing, but it is extremely possible. It can, you have to take a call, and once you show your interest, show your involvement in your profession, definitely your family will be supporting you. They will always appreciate you. They will be helping you to kind of take some kind of responsibilities also with them, so that you are able to do both the things well. So that is my background. So CA I consider as a symbol of pride and status. You should always be proud of being a CA because
અચ્છા, અહીંયા તો કઈ દેખાશે નહીં આગળ. પૂર્વાઈ નંબરથી ચાલુ કરે છે આ પીહુના.
Pardon me? Okay, CA, I would consider that it is a symbol of pride and status because you are really holding the CA icon with you. You know, it is a kind of a very, very nice feeling to be with. So you have to take the responsibility. You should know that you are holding a very, very high symbol, emblem with you. So you have the responsibility to protect it and keep the standards of profession as high as possible. Why I'm saying this is I've seen some of it during my practice. I see some of the corporates where they were also asking us to do some employee returns and all that. We also used to take different returns because I was also having a team with me. So when we say that, some of the employees used to reach out and say, can you just make some claims? Because other CAs would say that we will get you more refund, we will make more claims, and that is how. So that was not really encouraging. You know, you should not say that you will misguide your clients or then stoop your level down. That should never be the case. You always have to give correct address, correct advice, though you may get lesser compensation for that, but that is okay. But in the longer run, that will always help, and that will also keep the standards of the CA itself very high. You should never try to deteriorate the standards of CA at any point in time in life. That is what I would kind of advise to all the youngsters, because we have gained this knowledge, we have gained this qualification. It's not an easy joke. It's really hard work. And you know, ACCA and other even CPA, you can write just one paper at every point in time. You can clear that paper and you are done with that paper. Unlike CA, where you have to do all the subjects together, and if you just get aggregate lower by 1 mark, you again have to redo it. So they've kept it so tough. Our CA syllabus is extremely tough. We can kind of work around anywhere in the world, I can tell you that. And we have so much of experience. We have so in the experience, in the sense, even while we are studying, we are getting trained as an article. So we really have lot of exposure. We can work in any environment, in any country, because our standards are very high. That is how they have also trained us. So you should always be proud of it, and you should never let your CA profession down for any point in time, for any purpose. So our behavior, we have to walk with our head held high in society, because we deserve it. And also, once we demonstrate these things and we demonstrate integrity, then people will come to you and they will start respecting the profession. Already it is a very, very respectful profession, and we have to hold it high. Then the other tip is, you need to build your name. You have to build your reputation. Like any corporate builds its own name, builds its brand image, builds its, so your name itself is your brand. You have to start building your brand. You have to be known to different communities. You have to kind of participate in different events. You have to be a speaker. You have to do so many other things just to be there. Okay, so that is one of the important things. And you all earn your respect and build your reputation by your actions. So that is how you can build your action, you can build your reputation. Then it is also important that you develop business acumen. So you may be in practice or you may be in corporate. So when you have to advise your client, you have to understand his business. You should never relate your compensation or the consideration for the effort that you would spend. Even though, see, it can be repeatedly, you may get your things from them. Okay, so you should always try to understand that business, so your advice to them will be much higher and it will be more valuable. So it will motivate them to use you for many more times, all your advices. So that's how I've said, understand your client business and be a partner in finance. So whether if you're in corporate, you cannot say this is what my corporate governance says and these are the rules and I'm just going to follow the rules. But you have to try to make them understand why these rules, then how to marry both the business requirements and your corporate requirements. Then the other thing what I learned when I was in Bosch is the quality in everything you do. So that was Bosch, if you see, or any German company, they will never compromise on quality. So even if you buy, I used to buy a knife from Germany, so you just can use it for 25 years or lifelong without any kind of things that you need to do it. It'll just work the same way that you use for the first time. So they always believed in quality. And I also started following this up, and this really helped me go up my career life because whenever you come up with since I was reporting to the Germans, you always had your Indian counterparts. So the men, and when we were having a startup of our career, men were really dominating. And I used to remember even in MICO meetings, they will invite you, but they will never allow you to speak up. Only the men will speak, and if you want to tell your views, they will just try to kind of cut it out. So that's how we have kind of come up from that background. But you're all lucky, it is not the case now. It is almost like equal now, or we are better off. So that was not the case earlier. So you have to do 200% to kind of satisfy or make people believe that you can do, when men can just do 100%. So that is how you have to put more and more effort and keep your things very your results should be of high standards of quality, because they will be always wanting to challenge you. So what I have done is, before anybody challenges me, I will again go through whatever I have done. Before I release whatever I want to recommend, I will see what are the different things that people can come up with, and then be able to answer any question, and will never want to take whatever I have recommended back for any purpose, So I will be able to say, this is why I did this and this is why I recommended. And whatever questions, if you're able to answer them well, then if you do this multiple times, then it came to a stage when my MDs used to say, once she has just signed off, I'm just going to blindly sign it. I don't even want to kind of ask any question. So you have to build that reputation, and that will come only by practicing high standards of quality. Whatever you do, the time, but you have to spend more time on that, but that's okay, because it's going to really help you in the longer run when you're in your career path. Then the key attributes of success, I would say, updated knowledge. See, when you work for, when you are not a professional, or when you work for some other companies, in corporates, generally this happens, when you're in a corporate, it's okay even if you don't update your knowledge. So I've seen CAs who are working with me, my colleagues, I've seen some of them, they don't want to really, once they're qualified, that's it. They have their tag with them. So they don't want to know what's happening around, and they are not really interested. So they just, if there is any problem inside, they will hire a consultant, they will take the issue, they send it to the consultant, then take the response from the consultant, send it internally and be with it. Just they be happy with that. You should never do that. You should always try to update your knowledge, because you should always think that as a woman, we may have to switch between corporate and practice. That will always be handy. And that you can do only if you have updated knowledge. Once you are in practice, it will take a lot of time for you to, if you're not updated, then when clients come and ask, clients themselves will have updated knowledge. So if they ask and you don't know what is happening around, what are the recent developments, then you'll give wrong advice, or they can easily judge you that you are not really up to date. So you should never allow that to happen. So we always need to think that we may at any point in time have a switch between corporate practice corporate. So you should always try to kind of keep updated knowledge. That will help you in your own interest. And one more thing is, when you're in corporate, you always get the opportunity of attending to seminars, conferences, and then so they pay for it. So that you should make use of all the opportunities, try to be updated whether you are in that area or not in that area. Some of them in tax, they don't want to know about IFRS. It's not the case. You should always try to know the latest things which will help you in your more, even in your corporate it can help you, because you can add on to your functions, as well as in practice it can help you. Then you should be bold and confident in what you say. For that, you should do your homework well, but always be confident. Never think that you are a woman and therefore you should never have that feeling, and therefore you need some support. You have to be dependent on someone. Never have that feeling. Women and men, there is no difference at all between women and men. I never had that feeling in my thing. If you have that, always you will start becoming little bit dependent on others. Never try to be dependent. Always try to learn and become independent. Then only even your men counterpart will be trying to work with you together. Then you can also use some of your women characteristics at work and at practice, so that helps you. That will be an add-on for you as compared to your women counterparts, like approachable. If women are generally approachable, you want to listen to others, you want to kind of help them out. These are all very natural characteristics of women, so you can try to make use of it. Whereas men may not be very approachable. If you see CFOs of men CFOs, generally I'm saying, so people will generally be very scared to even ask them some take appointments with them, or they may not be, they would try to avoid meeting them, but that's not the case. We always have to keep ourselves approachable. So what happens is we get facts, we get people opening up, so that helps us. So that is one of the natural characteristic we should make use of. Then we also need to be people centric. There again, know your teams, then understand their difficulties, try to help them. Similarly, in an organization, you have not only your colleagues, you have people whom you have to manage. Like you will have a team under you, not only in a corporate, it applies to both corporate as well as practice. Then your colleagues will be there, your seniors will be there, then the people whom you report will be there, and then you will also have other stakeholders. Like when you're releasing a report, you may be, all the business heads will be seeing the report as to what is the profitability, what is the sales and all that. So you have to be very people centric, understand them, be with them, in the sense that we work like a team. That will help you, because once you are judged for your performance, it is not only a reporting manager who will assess you. He will always take the stakeholders inputs. That is the trend of the day now in corporates. We just don't assess, because we will not have so much time to deal with our subordinates. So we also take, when you're going, they also take the stakeholders inputs. So the more good inputs you get from other stakeholders, it will help you. Therefore you have to be people centric. Then good presentations is always very important for you to do. So you must develop presentation skills as well as Excel skills. These are very important, because even if you have to do practice, you have to do client presentations, and you have to be very presentations. If you have good skills in presentations, it will actually 75% you will be winning there, because you have to concise what you want to say. Then you can actually present it to people, then they will be able to ask questions. So you should develop the skill of doing good presentation. That's very important, because when you will be growing to a level of addressing the board members who will not have much time, so you have to know what you have to present, how you have to present, what important information has to be shared. All those things are important. Then avoid office politics, I would say, because that gossips, if you get into, then it can really lead you into a very wrong direction, because that is not generally liked by everybody. So if someone can say that your boss is this, he's making you stay late. So if you just start with that, then they can really take you into wrong direction, give wrong impression about you to your boss itself. So that can again damage your growth. So just avoid that, stick on to your work, be very friendly with your team as well as to outsiders. Then here I would say, stay ahead. expand your horizon, which means that always try to take more responsibilities. If you're in accounting, try to learn tax, try to head tax function also. So if you keep on adding more opportunities, then that itself will make you update your skills, update your knowledge, and grow within the organization. And it will also improve your profile strength to take other opportunities when you're not wanting to stay with the same organization. Then in Be Connected, I would say be connected with the CA Institute, because they are always there to help you, and they are with the latest information, everything. So be connected with other professionals. They may not be working with you, but you can always, we used to have the CFO Connect, once in a month we used to meet in one of the offices. I'll just have some water. Yeah. See, be connected, I would say, not only the CA Institute, with your other professionals who are other industries, other companies. We used to do that because we used to have one every monthly meeting. Since I was in software, all the software companies in Bangalore, the CFOs, we used to meet once in a month. We used to discuss issues, about software industry, other industries. So that will help you to build up your, again, what the other industries are facing, what the income tax notices that is sent, how they are dealing with it. So collectively you can work on that. And that also helped me in a way that all these CFOs of big companies, what they used to do is, I had the opportunity to travel to 2 different countries. We went to Australia for about 3 days. One company sponsored all the CFOs for a trip to Australia, and one time to Malaysia or something like that. So that's how you kind of keep connected. That helps you. Jokes apart. Then the other thing is, 1 minute. Yeah, that's how you kind of work around and you grow. And you have to always try to handle complexities. Just don't be satisfied or happy with your routine job. It's always much easier to take up routine jobs, and then because there are no challenges that are coming in, so you are happy and you want to, so that will not give you good growth. If you want to grow, you have to take up complexities, you have to take up challenges. Then once you kind of become successful in handling the complexity, then the management will have more confidence on you, and they will try to give you more responsibilities. So the first thing is to have your goal set. First, have a vision. What is your long-term dream? What do you want to become at the end of, like, after 10 years, 15 years, what you want to be? And you start working towards it. Because if you just work without a goal, then you just do not know where you want to land in. So that's a good thing. Start to have a goal in life, a vision in life. Then there are different phases of life, as I said. That's why I gave you my background also, because in more detail, just to say that you also can come up with such kind of circumstances where you have to take different decisions at different points in time. Because see, we are all human beings, end of the day. We also need our family, we also need our family time. And the only your work is not your life. You should understand that, because if you are only going to concentrate on your work and your career, then that justice you're not doing to your family, because you have your commitment to your family also. They need you, so you have to spend time with them also. So accordingly you have to kind of switch between things. Then have your support systems well. If you are able to do, if you need to do all these things, you need to have good support systems at home also, so that you're able to devote much time to your work, and also have a well work life balance. What sets us apart is know your strength, understand your strength very well and rely on it. Then you also need to know your weakness. You should not be shying away in not wanting to know your weakness, because only if you know your weakness you can improve on it. If you don't even know your weakness, then the others can easily, they will know what is your weak point, and then they can work around that, and therefore you will not be able to grow. So weakness also is very important for you to know. Then what are the opportunities? Always you must be seeing what are the opportunities for me, internal and external. Am I kind of doing the right job in this organization? Maybe I'm working for this organization, but if I continue with this for another 10 years, what will happen to me? So your opportunities you should know. Then only you'll be able to take the right decisions. And then the threats also you should know. What is my competition doing? What are my threats? Because you should always know that as a woman, if we can do things better off, or even at least at the same level or better off than men, but then men do not have any kind of family responsibilities. The sense responsibilities, I would not say responsibilities, I would say that certain family commitments men is not really having because of society thing, and then the mindset at which they are all there. So therefore, since we have to also take care of our family at certain point in time, so we have to always be aware of our competition, the competition, what threats we have, and how we should, it should not dampen our growth. So when you want to start your career, there's a decision tree, whether you want to do practice straight away or you want to do as an employee and then go to practice. Again, in practice, you have certain aspects, whether you want to do your own practice. Practice, again, you can do it, be in different forms. You can start your own practice, be as a proprietor and do things. You can join other CA firms again, or you can join big 4 audit firms and consulting firms. So this is the different ways where you can do your practice. What are the different advantages, disadvantages in each of these areas? If you're going to have your own practice, then you're just starting from scratch. You will have to build your team. You have to get your clients. You may not get good clients at the start. So you may have to work with very small clients who will not really pay you so well. So those things are all there. And then you will have to invest for everything. You have to have your office thing that is either on rent, or then you have to build up your office, then your employees, then you have to have the capacity to retain the employees. So it's not a very easy proposition to have your own practice right from beginning. So therefore, if you want to choose your partners, if you say, okay, let me not be a proprietor, I'll have some partners with me, then that also has certain disadvantages also, I should say, because see, advantages anyway you're going to get. I'll just want to focus on the disadvantages which you should know before choosing the partnership thing, because you should know your partner well. Then there can be disputes coming on expense sharing, then client fee sharing, all those things can be a thing. Then the partner may not even work and you will have to work for long them because of the partnership terms that you have entered into. And there are also then the partner may then take away your clients. He may set up his own practice, take away all the clients and go. So those are all the disadvantages that you have. And you can either have partnership or LLP. LLP is much safer because of the limited liability that it has with it. So LLP is safer. So that is also one of the ways of developing your practice. Then the other one is joining a big 4. When you join a big 4, but in both the ownership as well as partnership basis, you will be doing all types of jobs. You'll not only be doing one area. You will have to do audit, you'll have to do even accounting sometimes, you'll have to do taxation, everything you'll know, and you'll start gaining a lot of knowledge that is there. But then the whatever amounts you get may be very small to whatever amount, the number of hours that you will be spending. So that is the thing that you will take. If you join big 4 audit firms, there you will be doing only one area you will be working on. For example, if you join a corporate taxation, you will do only employee taxation. So if you do that and you'll become an expert in employee taxation, but you'll not know 1% of any other area. So even if you want to set up practice after some time, then you will not know anything else. If you do GST, you'll know only GST. So that is one of the area that is one of the drawbacks that are there in big four audit firms. But nevertheless, you will become an expert in that area. And if you want to set up practice in that area, you can really do well. And you can also have a good client base because you would have worked with very large corporates, and your professional reporting will be good. You would have gone through many, many big challenges. So that is also one of the things that you can consider joining a very good consulting firm or a big four audit firm if you want to practice, and then set up your own practice later on. The last one is on the employment. Okay, that's what I said. Traditional areas and all these things are there. Then the other thing that is there is on the corporate. If you want to first thing that okay, let me get into a corporate, let me have some employment, then I will do what I want after some few years. So there again you have a mix between, I put more percentage for women because there is a driving force among the HR to recruit more women employees, you know. So therefore I've just put the percentage for higher for women. So there is a mix of both men and women in corporate. And there are also different ages, age groups that will be there. The youngsters, right from youngsters to very senior people, middle and senior level will be there. So you should be able to talk to all of them, mix with different people, and then take up all that kind of activities in the corporate. In a corporate environment, you have different areas that you can work on. Like corporate reporting is one of the areas. Corporate reporting is majorly on the financial reporting, what we call the balance sheet and all the financial statements. You will be working on that. So you will be taking care of the accounting aspects, whether all the accounting standards are complied with. And then for this, if you are joining good corporates, you'll have also have the opportunity to work in big ERP systems like SAP or Oracle Financials and all that. So you'll have an opportunity to learn IT systems coupled with accounting. Then management reporting is one of the areas, which is also business planning and management reporting. So this team, they do not work on the financial statements. They only work on the future of the business. That means they do a business planning for the next year or next 3 years, and they work towards that. And they give reports to the management as to how the performance of business has done month on month and what calls the business has to take. The other thing is again business finance. So this is also related closely working with the business teams and giving them the financial aspect of it. Controlling will again be on the control aspects that you have to build in the systems itself, so that you are able to deliver the correct financial statements, which gives a true and fair view. So that is the controlling aspect of it. Then treasury is also a very important area in corporate, that is purely into banking, and then getting funding for the organization, debt funding, equity funding. So those kind of activities will be handled here, and also your banking transactions. Then taxation is another area where it is corporate tax, or again you can in corporates maybe you can also handle both corporate tax as well as GST together. So that is also one of the areas that can come. And if you take a CFO role, it will be heading all these functions together, and also seeing the profit maximization. How do you maximize your profit? What strategies you have to take? What are the cost reductions you should do? Then what are the other companies that you can acquire to make your business bigger, to make the size of the corporate bigger? So they are all the corporate strategies. You will be working with the board members and other senior management, top management people, if you're a CFO, to see how you can maximize your profit and how you can make your corporate also bigger. Then so if you are in corporate, you can try to add more and more functions to you if it is of interest to you, and that will again help you if you have to come back to practice, or if you have to switch jobs from one corporate to another corporate. And you can kind of get about 25% to 30% of your of an extra amount if you switch corporates also. That's also a good amount that you can aim at if you have more responsibilities that you will be able to handle. As I said, you always need to kind of take more complexities and handle them. And in corporate, you should aim to become the CFO or the company secretary of that organization, because that will be one of the one positions that will be there. And you will have the opportunity to work with all top people who are into business and who have a lot of many ideas, you know. So that will be a very nice experience to deal with. Then, as I said, if you're also wanting to join corporate initially, the other motivational factors is you get an assured income, and it will be quite decent enough to support you in your startup of your career. And you get salary and other benefits. They cover you for medical insurance. Then they give you a lot of trainings that you can attend at the cost of the company itself. Then you can learn, you can grow. Then the other most important aspect in corporate is you will have a team with you. If you are going to practice, then you have to engage your own employees, you have to pay them. If you're not paying them high, they will leave you and go. So all those issues will be there. But in a corporate, you are going to have a team. So what you earn is for you. But here the thing is, if you have to pay for your salary to your employees, and you have to give them more opportunities, you have to retain them. Those complexities are there, which I would think may be little bit too much to handle if you're starting off as a practice. So if you do a little bit of corporate and then go to practice, already you would have built up your financial positions better, and you will be able to take much challenges from your practice later. And also in practice, I would say there can be a work-life balance. It is not like in practice you have your deliverables. You know, you don't want to stop your clients. So if you're going to have more and more clients, you want to take as much work as you want, which would mean that you will have to spend a lot of time with your clients. As I said, you have to always see your time in delivery time, your quality of your deliverables. So those things are very important. So therefore, you will have to kind of burn out during your start of your career, if and which will not be the case in your work life balance will be much better. If you are in corporate, is my experience, it can be different. So that will also help you to build up your family time as well as your corporate profile. And in corporate, the other thing, positive aspect is there is lot of changing business complexities that you will have to deal with. And the other thing also, I would say, you are actually implementing it. See, as a practice, what you do is you just recommend, you advise your client, but you may not know what the client is actually doing. You may say you don't, you close all your warehouses in different places, because if you have too many warehouses, then you may have to register everything as a GST unit. And there is a GST again when there is a movement from one warehouse to. So you may recommend by that, but then you may not know what the client wants to do. So that aspect of it you will never be able to see. But if you are in a corporate, you will actually implement it. So you will see, you will take all the advices from the clients. You will also have your own learning. So you will also have your knowledge to apply, and then you will implement it for the best of the corporate. So that will be one. That means you're seeing the entire cycle of the change that will happen. So that will be one of the important aspects, and it's also a very large learning there. So that is one of the good aspects in corporate. So you will be more close to business, which may not be the case if you are in practice completely. Even though you try to understand the business, you cannot do it. It's not like just understanding in a week's time or so. You may know the industry, you may know a little bit of it, but then you can't have a deep dive understanding of the business, which would be very important in corporate. And the other things you need to know in corporate when you are working, there is always a women grievance committee. Statutorily, these are all required now to take care of women employees, you know. So, which will be headed generally by a woman. And then you should know that if you have any problems, it's not only issues dealing to women, you can also say that if there is going to be a disparity between you and your colleague, because he's a man, he's getting promoted faster, and even though you do the same job, you're not getting paid same salary, or you're not getting promoted. All those things you can actually discuss with the grievance committee, and they will put some action plan, and they really work on it. And I was also one of the heading in Tata Motors Women's Grievance Committee, so I'm just telling you that. And we have that in almost all corporates now. Then if there's any harassment against women when you're working, you just don't feel shy about it, just go and complain against it, because you should not allow someone to override you, because it's not acceptable to you. You don't have to kind of compromise on any of your any of these things. You have to raise it out. Don't worry, people are there to protect you, and nothing will happen to your employment or to your this one growth or anything like that. You have to speak out. Then you should always see that there is an increasing trend in the percentage of women employment in industry, because now more and more MNCs are coming to India. Globalization has really helped us, and all global companies, if you see, they want women CFOs, they want women to lead the finance team. They have more confidence in us. So let us make use of this opportunity, and we have to grab this opportunity. That is why I'm saying, as you grow, you take up complexity, you will also get more confidence to take up bigger roles. Then the other thing you should know is there is always doctors in the organization, some especially in IT industry and all, because there'll be a lot of depression. Generally they work late, and then there are so many issues that will happen. So psychiatrist is there, so you can always reach out to them. Then you can take their assistance whenever you're depressed. And so if you're working late, again, you may have problems in your family also. They're coming late most of the time, another thing. So how to keep your mental balance well? You can take these advice. There's nothing wrong in that, and they will guide you well, and they will also tell you how to overcome it. All those things are there. So these are the little tips that you should know. I think these are the few experiences that I wanted to share with you all in your career growth, and what choices you have, and it will be more informed for you to take your decisions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
We can have a few questions. Anybody can unmute herself and can ask any questions if you have. You can unmute yourself, or you can pose your question in the chat box.
Ma'am, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Like you told us that we should have a goal for ourselves, or we should have a vision for ourselves, which will help us to lead ourselves to what we have to do. I want to ask about your goal and your vision in life.
Yeah, see, my goal was I always wanted to become like a top person in the organization, like a CFO and CS, and I'm also an independent director now, because I always like to work with the board members. So that was my dream. And I think I have kind of almost reached there. Because see, unless you have a vision, no, you will not move towards it. See, all of us had a vision. That's why we're all qualified, and we are sitting here and discussing, isn't it? So if you don't have anything, if you just take what it comes, then you will land up. I'm not saying you'll not, but then there is nothing that you want to achieve, which you have said for yourself.
Yeah, hi, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very value-added information which you shared with us. For me, I am in the starting stage of my career. It's my first year of employment after clearing my CA. I'm now a CA and the CS. So I'm little bit confused now. I'm engaging with one of the MNC in Chennai. Whether I will continue in this corporate or how to do engage in my own practice. I have a confusion which path how to decide. Even I'm not able to 100% deliver my service to my organization. I have a confusion whether this practice or employment. Can you please guide me?
See, what I would suggest is if you do employment, the advantages of doing practice after few years of employment is always there. Because see, when you're in practice,
बंद कर दो ना.
when you have
AC.
done your corporate, when you have a corporate experience,
Yeah.
As a corporate person, you will know what are the issues that the corporate is
Yes.
facing, isn't it? So you
Yes.
start knowing your business well. So now you will know what are the problems that the corporate are facing. So when you do corporate experience and then you switch on to practice, you will be playing the holistic role. So that is
Yes.
how in that 1.5 years of practice, I was able to really get lot of clients because you will be actually knowing their problems and you will address the problems holistically. You have what you
Yeah.
say, I will recommend the solution to you and I will also support you in implementation. So that
Yes.
will be a very great help for the corporates if you help
Okay.
them in implementation, because implementation time there will be lot of issues that will come up. See,
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
tell you, they will just tell you few lines as to GST is like this, it's like this. But
Yeah.
then when you have to really implement it, there are so many problems that will come, what you have to do at every stage. So
Yes.
that experience you will gain if you are in corporate, you have worked in corporate for some time. And your recommendation to your client will be much bigger.
Okay.
It will be your value add will be much higher.
So, okay, for the time being, I have to continue with these corporates up to the 30 years of my age, then have to decide on my practice. That is the advice from you, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm not able to hear. Hello.
Vidya ma'am, you're unmute right. You're muted right now. You have to unmute yourself. Yes, yes,
Here,
yes. Now we
Yeah. Thank you,
see
ma'am. Thank you
what
so much.
Yeah, see what the corporate helps is, as I said, it also helps you build up your financial position also, isn't it? So once you have a little bit of funds in your kitty, then you can do much better in your practice.
Ma'am, there's a question from a member, Heenal Shah, who wants to ask that how do you manage the task as a group controller? Like there are so many responsibilities together, plus you have to read, you have to manage so many things. So how do you manage your time in that case?
Yeah. See, what we do is first you have to set the objectives with your team very clearly. You have to have very clear objectives with your team. See, when you are at a group level controller, then what happens is you will have CAs, experienced CAs working with you as your first reportees. Okay, you will have your direct reportees, it is called. So I had direct reportees who are about 20-25 years experience, specialized in every area, like in GST, a 20-year specialized CA, in corporate reporting, similarly, in corporate tax, in controls like that, you have direct reportees who are specialized in these areas. So, what you need to do is you have to have very clear objectives set with your direct reportees. Then they in turn will have objectives set with their team. So, if everyone knows what is their objectives for the year, then they will start working towards it. If you don't have objectives set for anybody, then you cannot measure performance. It also helps you to measure performance. It also helps you to support them whenever they are not able to know what they need to do for a particular challenge that comes in. So then, that's how we will first set up the objectives every year very clearly, and if any changes has to be made during the year also, we will do it. And just setting objectives will not be sufficient. You also need to have a review meeting with your team. With your direct reportees, you can have review meeting once in a week or once in 15 days. And as a group, the entire group, you will have to sit with them as a group meeting every month at least, and then ask people to speak. Ask them the feedback, ask them whether they are, how they are progressing with their objectives. Will they be able to meet their objectives, will they not be able to meet? And we have to have objectives which will be in line with the corporate requirements. If the corporate is saying, I want to increase my turnover by another 25%, then we should not be having the same set of employees. We may have to have more number of employees, isn't it? So we also need to do a manpower planning to add more people to support the corporate. So that way we need to do a manpower planning. Then if there are going to be complexities that are coming in, for example, again, IFRS was a big change. Okay, in India, it was Ind AS. Ind AS was a big change. And then GST was a very big change. So all those things also, you have to start sending your people for trainings. They have to attend different seminars, different trainings they have to attend. And so that they are able to cope up with the change. And also we will have limited time to implement it also, isn't it? So you have to gear your people, motivate them, allow them to grow, allow them to learn. Only by, and also you need to retain your team people also. It's very important, because if you're not allowing them to grow and you don't mix with them, you don't have team meetings, so then everybody will be working in solo. It's not like a group work. So therefore they may get disinterested, they may leave the job. So if people leaving the job again to get a replacement is difficult. You have to get the same type of requirement. So that's how you have to try to engage your own people, engage them. Don't give them too little work that they will have time for gossip and other things, or spend time on things which are not very relevant. So engage them fully for their number 8 hours or 9 hours of work. Then also involve them, take their feedback, implement certain good things that they have said. So like that, I was able to manage my team and support the corporate requirements. And be very open, and you have to just be honest in what you do, because you should not be saying something and doing something differently. And you have to practice ethics and integrity in all your whatever you do. You have to actually set an example for your team to follow. They're all professionals working with you, so you have to kind of set a team so that the entire department will be having earned that respect from others. And if others will be your, see, for your if you're in practice, your clients are your people there. Here the other departments are basically your clients, so you have to service their requirements, you have to live up to their expectations. That is how you have to groom your team. And then be closely working with them, give them trust, give them confidence. All that I think will work well.
Gianna, we can take questions from the chat box.
Okay, so Minali Boch has a question that, ma'am, if you could give some important tips to bind the team together and to motivate them to perform and work better.
That's what, see, what you could do is you can have a team. Uh, See, what we used to do is we used to have team outside lunch and all that. Once in a month we used to celebrate birthdays of the team members. We all used to kind of join together, then cut a big cake, and then talk about them. So celebrate all the birthdays of every individual in the team. And then we used to have a team outing. We used to have a budget for that. So 1 day or 2 days we used to all go along with the team, so that you are out of your work and then you're all just together. And different people, they sing, they dance, whatever they want to do, they do. And then you have good lunch, have good dinner and all that. So that's how you kind of try to mix up with the team. Sometimes we also used to have family together with the families, but that will be like 3 hours or 4 hours. We have some things together with the families. So that is how you kind of try to make the team closer, connected, get connected to your team closer. And you also appreciate your team who has, as any team member who has done a good job. Then you appreciate the team, you call for a meeting and you just say that this person has done such a great job, and this is how we have come, all that you do. So you start trying to encourage people, and then give them whatever is due to them. And then if people are doing well, then you put them in fast track mode of promotion, you know then that will be like a motivation for others also. They will also think, okay, let me also do this and become better. And you can also do job rotation. For example, if somebody is very bored in doing accounting for 3 years, then you say that, okay, you go to tax, or you go to some other area, you go to treasury, and he also starts learning new things. So that also you can motivate the team. So like that, you have to understand and have discussions, one-on-one discussion. Just we used to have coffee meetings where you just pick up individuals and you have like half an hour discussion with your with any team member, and then he will also open up with you and he will tell what is his interest, what he wants to do, and whether he's happy with his immediate boss or what is his requirements. All that you can get to know. So the entire one whole year you can cover all your employees like that. So these are all your motivating aspects. And you also give good recommendations, to the management to give them more increment like that. And you don't take so many employees also. If you have a lesser team, then you can take good care of them in terms of their increment, in terms of their promotion and other things. And other motivational aspect is you need to give a good ERP support to the team, because if you have more and more manual work that you want the teams to do, then what happens is they get really frustrated, because it is manual work. Generally, people they really don't want to do. I'm not saying everything is manual, but it is always you have to try to keep automating your IT systems so that people are only using their intelligence to work. It is not that they have to do the work themselves. Wherever you can automate it, of course it can be expensive, but you have to try to push your budget for that. You have to tell your management that you need all these automated systems, because more and more automation is there, people can go back home faster. And you should not try to, you have to also think about the work life balance of your employees, not try to make them sit to have day in and day out and then try to squeeze them out like that. So you have to also see that they have their own work. Then they take their at least like 2 weeks break they take from their office, going with their families. So like that you have to inculcate all these measures which will motivate them, and they will also know that they are taking care of them.
Okay, ma'am. There is another question from CA Mamta Shah. That did you at any time face problems due to man dominant industry where due to male ego you have to face problems to convince your team members?
No, I didn't get you. Just can you repeat it?
That where you are in a male dominant industry, so did you at any point of time in your career face that due to male ego you have problems convincing your team?
Convincing my team. Yeah, I really had all those issues. I said when I started with Myco Bosch, they are completely male dominated. They feel women can just they can't do anything. They are just there. They can do some small work, like data entry, that kind of, or secretarial job. They are more fit for that. They cannot. They should not be considered for taking big decisions and then given lot of responsibilities, because any day they can come back and say, "I have my office, my home, I have to take, I'm resigning," they can say. Or they can cry, or they can do all that, which they always thought that all these jobs are after like manager level, it should be only men should be there, because we can ask them to stay late, or they will kind of take up more responsibilities, which women will always shy away, because and they will get more support also. Suppose if you have a female employee and then that lady is just crying for something, or she's upset, then there'll be more supporters for her, and these people will be in a problem. So that's how they were not so keen on taking more people into the management level. And they also just can't tolerate some women employee speaking out in meetings. So once you just want to say something, they don't want to take any of your views. So that was, I was completely into that. And even though I was not working for Myco Bosch, which is into the manufacturing setup, I was into IT, as I told you. And IT, you don't have this kind of differences generally. And we were 100% subsidiary of Bosch GmbH also. And my management was all Germans, basically. So they don't have any differentiation between men, women, and all that. So I was actually here, but then I have to also go for meetings in Myco. So I used to kind of manage it out. I'll never get into any kind of a dispute or situation with them, because it's not that we want to change people, but we only can demonstrate that we are not anything lesser than any of them. So that I used to demonstrate, as I said, with more taking more complex issues and then solving it amicably, or taking up some initiatives which is not really required, but I'll just take those initiatives and I'll see the best is coming to the company. So like that I've done every day. I would have thought about many things like that, so that they get the trust in people. So that is how I used to manage. And one more issue what I had was, apart from finance, I was also asked to handle this internal controls. Okay, so my MD was saying, see, since you deal with so many business people, so you can it's not internal audit, because being in finance you cannot also do internal audit, because internal audit will also do your finance function audit, isn't it? So there's a conflict of interest, so you're not doing internal audit, but you can do internal controls to see that things are in place. So what we used to do is, and I always encouraged women employees. I used to have a women employee who used to help me in this internal control. She was very good at work, but again she had problems of having small kids, so she resigned. I told her, don't resign, you just work for half a day, that's okay with me. And that was also not at all allowed in Bosch those days. Why will she get a privilege of working half a day when everybody has to work full day? Then I would say, no, you have to see the that she works well, and it's value add for us, so let us allow her to work half day. Anyway, we are paying her half day salary and all that. So that is how I brought in that aspect of even able to work half a day. So what we used to do is, we used to find out many issues in different departments, especially in HR department. We found out a case where one employee joined, then he was there for, in one of the software departments he joined, he was there for 2-3 days and he left. He didn't turn up after that. Then that department head, what she did was, she was kind of, she was also not, she didn't inform anybody that he had left. And HR also was paying salary for that person for almost 1 year. 1 year that person was getting salary, because he had submitted his bank account and all that, so salary was just going on. And this department head also did not inform. But that is not the case. HR should know who's working, who's not working. And then we found out that this person is getting salary for more than a year. And then so we had to bring it to the notice of the management. We found out this. Then they very strict measures were taken on that business head as well as with the HR. But and they became very angry with us. Instead of appreciating, they became angry. And the other thing was, I was, as I said, I was much, I was there on like a senior manager or something when I joined there. But then I had to actually see all the issues at the vice president level and all that. One of the vice president, he was deputed to Germany, but he was claiming his health bills and all here in India. He is not an employee of India, but he is employed in Germany. But still, he was, since he was in deputation, he was claiming his employment bill, his father's medical bills and all that, which was also quite huge. So we found out that he is claiming here, and then all his payments, they said he has to return all the payments back. So he became really very upset. So like that, so many instances. And some of the secretaries, they were not doing things correctly. They were tampering with the attendance system, and people are getting paid higher. So the resultant was, all these about 40 people lost their jobs. So like this, we had to bring out all these issues. And my MD used to tell, you have to do. And when we recommend, there'll not be any kind of controversy in that, because it's all fact, facts of the case. And then measures were immediately taken. So that way it was extremely difficult, but we had to do our job. It's our job. So that was one of the not a very nice thing to do, but then we had to do that. And also I have to keep my people also motivated, because we started getting, the entire company became saw us like we are big enemies to them. And they used to say, we are getting summoned by this department, we have to attend the summon and all that. They used to pass all sarcastic remarks and all, but still we had to manage it out, because my employees were getting demotivated. And even if people stopped talking to them because we are bringing out issues. So that was a little bit interesting, but then at the same time, it had its own disadvantages also.
I would now request
You
Zalak.
have to be bold and confident, you know. With that, you should be able to manage it out.
I would now request Zalak to please give a VOT.
Hello, ma'am. That was a really delighting and interactive session. Your life journey is really inspiring. Starting from scratch and without any backbone, you have proved yourself. You have rightly said that map is there, and you just need to choose your own path, and you will reach your destiny. Being in corporate world, you are always you always need to stay on a front foot, and you need to be strong minded. That is very essential, along with practice and marvelous education qualifications. We have trained number of students and started a career in a corporate, balancing your family life, kids, and your corporate world portfolio. You have really challenged your life, and you have come out as a success. You have rightly said that you need to build your name. You need to be business acumen, quality in every. You need to have a quality in everything you do. You need to be approachable. Avoid your office politics. Don't let someone override you. Meet your CFO. Know your industry. Stay updated about things outside of your profile and have a higher career goal. So these are the real key takeaways from your session. So thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your inspiring life journey and motivating our women female chartered accountants. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to connect with all the with the institute itself, and I really appreciate the initiatives that you people are taking to kind of nurture the women growth. You know, that's very important now, and we have to really contribute a lot to the country itself, and we have lot of potential. We can do it because we should never think that family can be a hindrance to. It's never the case. They are always supportive, and we can do best at any point in time. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to connect with you.
Thank
It
you.
was a pleasure for me to be with you today.
Also for to all the participants today, as Navratri festival is going on today evening at 8 p.m. we are having a Maha Art. So request all of you to join it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all the participants. Have a nice career life and personal life too. Thank you so
Thank,
much.
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you, ma'am,
Thank
and
you.
thank
Yeah,
you all
thank
participants. Have a happy weekend. Thank you.
a
Thank
happy
you.
weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye everyone.